Welcome back. Let's look at how we can divide a given quantity or a given number in a given ratio. Remember, a ratio divides a quantity or a number into different parts. To divide a quantity or a number in a given ratio, we can use this method called the unitary method. What is the meaning of the unitary method? It means that you have to find the value of one part of the quantity and then use it to find the value of the multiple parts. So you start by finding the value of one part of that quantity you are dividing, and then after that you can find the value of the multiple parts. So follow these steps. First, add all the parts of the ratio, and then after adding the parts of the ratio, you calculate one part by dividing the quantity or the number by the total parts. So the answer you're going to get here, you will use it to divide the quantity you are dividing. And then lastly, multiply one part by each ratio. The answer you're going to get here, you multiply it by each ratio. Let's just use an example to explain these three steps. Let's say you have to divide 720 rands in the ratio 3:4:5. So you have to divide. These are the parts. 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. Remember, we said that a ratio divides a quantity into different parts. So these are parts. 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. Right? You add the parts and then get that we have a total of 12 parts. Right? And then we are using the unitary method. So we have to find what one part represents. We have 720 rands. So this 720 rands is divided into 12 parts. So one part is how much? One part is how much? So what we do? We divide 720 by 12. And then we get what? 60 rands. So it means that one part represents 60 rands. So now we can get what 3 parts represent, what 4 parts represent, and what 5 parts represent. So we're doing the last step of those 3 steps now. We multiply each ratio by one part. So we're going to say 3 times 60, we get 180. Then 4 times 60, we get 240. And then 5 times 60, we get what? We get the 300 rands. You see that? So it means when I'm dividing 720 in this ratio, 3:4:5, is going to be divided into 180 rand, 240 rand, and 300 rand. If you add this, they must give you your 720 rands. Right, let's look at the other method, the fraction method. Right, what you do with the fraction method, we say add all the parts of the ratio. Okay, like we have what? We said we have 12 parts there. And then express each part as a fraction of the quantity. Let's use our same example. So we have these parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. We add these parts, we have 12 parts. Okay, so this is 3 out of 12. This is 4 out of 12. This is 5 out of 12. And then it is 3 out of 12 of what? It is 3 out of 12 of 720. Okay, 3 out of 12 of 720. And then this one is 4 out of 12 of 720. And then this one is 5 out of 12 of 720. So this is another method you can use, which is the fraction method. Add the parts, get the total parts, and then express each part as a fraction of the quantity. And then we know that 720 can be divided into 180, 240, 300 if we're using this ratio. Okay, so that's the answer there. So these are the two methods you can use to divide quantities or numbers in a given ratio. You can use the fraction method or you can use the unitary method.